I had just enough time to take in his square jaw, dark hair, and streak of white at the temple before he tossed the limp body into the water like an empty candy wrapper and came after me. He was as big as a bear, but a lot of big men could run. Run! Huh! I wheeled around and sprinted back the way I'd come. God, don't let him catch me, I prayed. And the cold fear inside me made me fly like Pegasus. I looked over my shoulder once, right before I ducked around the Park Service outbuildings. He was closing the distance, wheezing after me like a locomotive, but I ignored the pain in my side and doubled my speed. I didn't look back again until I dodged behind the high stand of bushes surrounding the Coast Guard station house. I flew up the 3 steps to the porch and slammed my fist against the door. Help! Help! Emergency! Open up! My breath came in little jagged gasps as I pounded the polished oak door. I wanted whoever was inside to hear me, but I didn't want the killer to know where I was. Hurry, please, I whispered. The latch rattled. The door opened about an inch. I pushed, but the door wouldn't budge. I looked up. A pair of soft blue eyes, narrowed in suspicion, peered out at me. "What is it?" a woman's voice asked from the other side. "Please, please, you've got to help me." I pushed against the door again. "Please, let me in." She blinked, and I knew she was sizing me up, trying to decide if I was going to do something weird to her if she let me in. I guess I looked sane enough, because after a second the door swung open. I shoved my way inside. "Quick, lock it. There's somebody after me." She released the collar of her pink chenille bathrobe and locked the door while I steadied myself against the wall. I took a couple of deep breaths, then looked her over. She was just under my height, probably 5'3", blonde and slender. Not exactly the mounted police, but between the two of us, I figured we might hold our own, at least until the cops arrived. The foyer was dark, paneled in knotty pine, and smelled of fresh brewed coffee. It had the cozy, dark feeling of a cabin below deck. I half expected the floor to surge with the lift of a wave, but it didn't. That was okay. It felt warm and safe, temporarily. "We need to call the police," I said. She didn't move. Did someone jump? The way she said it, clear and slow and patient, sounded like she was talking to a 3-year-old. "Jump?" I stared at her. My mind drew a blank. Then I understood. No, he was pushed. "Sarah!" A voice called from down the hall. "Sarah? Who's down there? Are you all right?" But Sarah was already bundling a pea jacket over my clammy shoulders and hustling me out the front door. "Hey, wait, what the—" I grabbed the door frame and hung on. Nobody was going to shove me back out there until the cops came. "The station office is over there," the woman explained, pulling on my arm and pointing to the white-clapboard building across the yard. "They'll send out the boats from there," she said. I let go. Over her shoulder, she called to the guy in the house. "Hurry, John. There's a man in the bay." We couldn't take the direct route, the one I'd run along, because upright metal bars blocked the entrance, so we drove up a hill, around, and back down again. As the bay came into view, I heard the slow purr of the motorboats. From the way they crisscrossed the water slowly and systematically like a couple of lawnmowers, I knew they hadn't found what they were looking for. The jeep skimmed past the brick pillars and took us right up to where the 2 men had fought. "Where'd you go in?" the captain asked. "That's it," I said, and pointed. "Right there. The little guy came from around the building right over there, and the big guy grabbed him by the neck and started choking him, then threw him in, right here." We all got out and stood at the end of the paved road next to the walls of the old fortress and stared into the frigid water. The guy who sat next to me in the back seat started taking off his clothes and ended up in a yellow wetsuit. He put on headgear and a harness, then waited at the edge of the breakwater for someone to tell him to dive in. Nobody did, though, so he just stood there shivering in the cold. I thought about what it would be like down there deep under the water, then pulled my borrowed pea jacket tight and looked at Captain John. "They haven't found him yet, have they?" "Not yet." He scanned the choppy bay with clear blue eyes. "Could he be out there?" I motioned with my chin toward the Pacific out past the Golden Gate. It's possible. We've got a flood tide. But if he goes down deep enough, the cross current could carry him out. It gets as deep as 400 feet under the bridge. But I doubt he went that far." He stared at the craggy